meet somebody for the first, or not even meet someone for the first time, but when you know somebody for a while, but you just can't seem to like get along with them. It's like it's kind of like your energies don't match, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm not into all that astrology, crystals, energy, healing, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I heard that, or like I was kind of reading online, that when you feel like your chemistry or your energy doesn't like match with somebody else's, there's actually science behind it. So
Mm.
apparently, it's that how a human being is a field of energy, right?
Yeah.
We're like electrons, I guess you could say, just all spinning, and it's like your frequency that you're moving at doesn't correlate or match with somebody else's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like kind of you could say that when you feel like the vibe is off with somebody, or maybe you've known somebody for a while and maybe you've just never been able to get along with them, and you just feel like you two just you can't vibe. There's actually science behind it. Like, isn't that crazy? I don't know. Maybe this might be a theory. I don't know if it's legit.
Yeah, I think
but
I kind of buy that. I mean, there's the field of psychology always goes into like neurochemistry, like neurochemistry, is that even a word? And looking at how people interact on a daily basis, and you find that a lot of people just aren't compatible. I think a lot of that is just confirming what we already know, like the horoscope jargon, the astrology.
yeah,
Astronomy is an actual scientific course, so let not confuse the two. But yeah, astrology and all that, right? I think.
Wait, I think somebody asked me in what course I'm taking one time, and I said astrology. I meant astronomy.
They probably look at you like you're weird.
Started laughing.
Yeah.
And then later on, I realized what I said. I was
Yeah.
like, hold up.
So like, if we look, I mean, so many people look at astrology and like they're like, yo, it's just some like pseudoscience jargon, and it is pseudoscience jargon. But I feel like it was made to like, because people back then couldn't scientifically validate through experiments and through research the way that we have now, all the science that we have now. But now we're able to actually put it into, like chemicals, and we're able to understand it completely, or at least the best that we can. But people back in the day probably understood it to a certain level. Like they felt the aura, felt the energy radiating off people. And now we understand it as, but people back then, they used to think, okay, let me look at the position of the moon and the sun. And for some reason that somehow correlates to how.
You know what's crazy you mentioned that? Because I was taking an astronomy course, not astrology, but an astronomy course.
Yeah.
And we learned about how the constellations that the stars were in at a certain period of time. So the constellation of the stars during the month you're born in, that's your constellation, right?
Yeah.
So for example, Leo, Capricorn, Gemini, whatnot. But every or few years, they're always shifting. They're always moving. So the constellation you're in now is not going to be the same in like maybe 10 years. So you could kind of say that astrology is bullshit, because you could literally prove that you don't act a certain way because you're a Capricorn, because you're not going to be a Capricorn in 10 years. You know what I mean? Because there's so many people who swear by this stuff, and specifically like girls, they actually like, I'm not saying all girls, but I'm saying more specifically, more often than not, you see that a female instead of a male is more interested in
I find
astrology.
apparently the reason for that is because women are a lot more affected because their hormones fluctuate a lot more because they have periods and whatnot. And apparently they think that, well, this is kind of like getting into more, not sexism discussion, but now we're kind of conflating, sexes and like establishing intelligence. What I'm saying is that a lot of people, women who are, I would say, more easily influenced, not all women, but some women, I think they conflate the idea of, because their personality changes throughout the month, because they have hormone fluctuations throughout the whole month, and they conflate that with astrology. Astrology, because the astrology conflates your value, your personality, who you are, based on the star signs and the position of the moon and the month, and because their personality intrinsically will fluctuate on a week-to-week basis throughout the month. They think that your horoscope will align with that for some reason. I think like that's what some, I don't know.
I guess you could say they're also a little bit more emotionally attached to this.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like women probably tend to be more, susceptible to that kind of thinking. Like it's not.
So you just called all women dumb. basically.
No, I tried my best to not say that.
So
'cause-
so you're basically saying that, like, you know, like, long story short, women kind of like are more gullible.
No, I didn't. I don't think that. I just think that our biological makeup, women tend to be. I don't know if there's any evidence for this. There actually probably is. Maybe I'm just misquoting.
I feel like it's an
already know.
emotional basis, though.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
feel like girls appeal, sorry, to emotion more. So, like,
Yeah,
if they have something where they can kind of attach their feelings to it,
Yeah.
they're more susceptible to maybe believing something.
yeah. I think.
Whereas a man, you're kind of like, especially in today's day and age, you're kind of born to be more non-gullible, I guess you could say.
No, I think men are gullible too, just not in the same way women are. I think when men, I mean, we can look at like red pill
Red pill
people.
Yeah.
They use logic.
What is red pill? Like, what's the difference between red pill and blue pill?
So red pill, I'll do my best to define it.
Sure.
Red pill to me is men who conflate taking accountability for all outcomes in their life, and I think they confuse it for taking accountability and like taking accountability and maybe success in the dating marketplace. So they think that by being this archetype of man, this sigma male who, I'll just give you like some examples. Yeah, you are a sigma male, to be honest.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, like, maybe like, very physically attractive, so buff, lean, so low body fat percentage. They have X amount of money. So I likely $1 million in the bank account. I have to drive a certain type of car.
And will blue pill be the opposite?
Blue pill, I think, tends to be what, like, so blue pill only exists because red pill exists, right?
Oh,
It's almost like dark is the absence of light. Blue pill is the absence of red pill.
Oh, okay.
So blue pill is like, they'll call blue pill like liberal soy boy men
Gotcha.
who let women walk all over them and have no backbone. Basically, your nice guy trope is what a blue pill is, right? When in reality, the red pill types look at people that aren't like them, and honestly, red pill kind of coincide with misogyny in a certain way, because
you're more narcissistic and egotistical.
Because you end up being more narcissistic, and also the other thing is you almost objectify women, because the whole point of red pilling is you're doing all of this because you want to have the most women that in your DMs.
Then I'm not a red pill. 6'4", by the way. And feminist.
Yeah. So am I.
Okay.
But
we're like green pill.
Yeah. We're green pill. Like we're the best of everything.
Green flag pill.
No, we're purple pill because we're the best of red and the best of blue.
Oh, is that like a mix?
Purple pill.
True. Purple
like
pill.
Gojo. Purple.
Gojo.
Yeah.
I don't watch anime, so I don't like usually understand all the references.
I mean, it was episode 5, 2 episodes ago, and me and Rajit were talking too much about the anime, and we basically what we discussed was I was too brain rotted. Like, my brain's rot because of how much I referenced the specific anime, Jujutsu Kaisen, and how much, like, basically when I talk, like whenever I'm tired or my brain capacity's low,
you're always referencing
I just speak
anime.
in JJK references only.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
It is fair, yeah. I think people need to accept me for who I am.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think people make fun of me, but it's kind of annoying because that's who I am, right? So
I make fun of you a lot for it.
yeah, it's okay though. Like, you live with it, right?
I mean, weebs are gonna be weebs at the end of the day. Sorry. Side note: what was that conspiracy theory you wanted to tell me about?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that conspiracy theory I want to tell you about. Okay, basically, right. So we're from Toronto, and the conspiracy theory I want to tell you about is: have you heard about the Lake Ontario incident?
No.
So the Lake Ontario incident is, do you know how in the summer that the city of Toronto will always put out E. coli bacteria warnings?
Oh yeah,
the whole
I've heard
summer.
about that.
Yeah, that's all fake. That's not real. Like,
seriously,
we have one of the cleanest, best water treatment facilities in the world. Do you really think that Lake Ontario is going to be contaminated with bacteria and we can't control the waste management in Toronto properly?
So why would they put that out there then?
They put it up there because bull sharks are the only sharks that can live in saltwater and freshwater. And
so you're telling me there's bull sharks in there, but they don't want us in there.
It gets even worse. So people think, or we've been led to believe that bull sharks will not migrate up the St. Lawrence River, but they actually do. Every summer, dozens of bull sharks go up the St. Lawrence River.
You're joking.
And the incident is in 2010. A woman swam too far on the Pickering Beach and drowned. Like, it was in the wee hours of the morning, right? And from what we know, sharks are active at most in dusk and dawn. So because they know the city of Toronto cannot have a shark population in their waters like in the summer because tourism would go down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because again, most of our tourism happens in the summer months, right? So the best they could come up with is, okay, you know what? We're gonna put a bacteria warning in the summer waters, so we dissuade swimmers from swimming too far out in the lakes, and we kind of decrease the amount of swimmers in the water during the summer months because
That makes sense because if they said flat out there's bull sharks in the water, nobody would come to the
yeah, and they figured out that bull sharks actually use the waters in Lake Ontario and Lake Erie and St. Lawrence River as breeding grounds in the summer, and they spawn their pups there and everything, right? Because it's safe waters because there's no other big predatory fish or other mammals that could, because in the ocean you have like sea lions, you have other big like whales that could eat the sharks, right?
Yeah.
But in Lake Ontario it's like free game.
What does a bull shark even look like?
Bull
Like,
sharks,
how big is a bull shark?
a bull shark I think roughly is about 7 foot to 10 foot long,
Oh man.
so it's pretty big. But
That's
it's
a
not a
big
great white shark. Great white
Yeah.
sharks can be up to 20 foot plus long.
Yeah.
But I think they're around 500 pounds, 600 pounds.
Wait, Joe Rogan reaction? Oh my god.
Jamie, can you pull up the video of the bull shark?
Jamie, can you please just pull up the video of the bull shark eating the kid in 4K while he's
I
biting
don't
the
think
kid?
Joe Rogan's that what's the word I'm looking for? Like that violent, not violent, but like that vulgar. But
I feel like he
anyways,
likes that stuff though.
I mean, he does.
But he's
but
very soft though.
he's
gentle.
a really nice guy.
But I love his reactions when he hears about an animal attack.
No,
He'll just-
and the bear, the brown bears.
Oh, the bear?
grizzly bears.
This is him. Ready? This is my best impersonation. Oh. I'm gonna get a weird clip made out of this. I'm not gonna do that
I
again.
mean, if you get memes, it's even better for our viewership. But
Yeah, he'll go like
but
this.
long story short, like
God.
the sharks in the waters are a real concern.
Yeah.
And to branch off from this, there's another conspiracy theory that revolves around sharks.
Yeah.
Right. So I think at this point, even though sharks are scary, right? Everyone does tell us that, the chance of you being attacked by a shark is really, really rare.
Yeah.
And while that is true, I think people actually underestimate how deadly sharks can be towards human beings.
That is true.
I think people underestimate the amount of shark attacks that actually happen in the waters. Now, I'm not saying that, never go in the ocean, sharks will kill you on sight. No, I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying, though, is I think people, in an effort to, obviously because sharks are endangered and people fish them to death sometimes, right? Be hunt for shark fins, that's a bad thing, right? But in an effort to combat the negative perception that the Jaws movie created, right? In 1979, I believe. I think they did too good of a job saying, oh, sharks are harmless. I'm not saying people said that, but I think sharks won't even attack you. But the reality is, right? A great white shark sees you in the water and it's hungry. It's going to eat you.
Yeah. Because
Like-
it mistakes you for a seal.
No, I don't even think it mistakes you. I just think that...
Really?
Okay. This is not proven. What I'm saying right now isn't scientific fact.
Maybe they're just hungry and
That's
they
why
want
it's a
some human.
conspiracy theory. What I am saying is that I don't think sharks actually mistake you for a seal. Sometimes they do.
Oh, so that's your theory.
Sometimes they do.
Okay,
For
okay.
surfers, if you let's say you look at a surfer from underneath the water,
Yeah.
they look like a seal because they have that board and they look like a seal.
But if
That
it sees you from close enough.
what I'm saying is there are attacks where there's numerous accounts of shark attacks in South Korean waters, South African waters,
Oh, wow.
Florida waters, etc., where the great white shark sees the human beings. They're diving in the water, and the shark goes in for a bite, right? Like rips off a leg, and you think that they're gonna just bite and go away. No, they come back and they eat the whole thing. They eat the whole animal.
Damn.
So you tell me if that's a shark mistaking someone for a seal.
Well, they know their human
No, they know
bone structure in their mouth from the
and we have a extremely low fat content compared to most mammals in the water.
animals could tell, like they could
I
sense
think
these
we really
little
kind of
details.
underestimate the intelligence of sharks in that manner.
Yeah.
We're like, sharks will eat you. I mean,
Mhm.
okay, sharks won't eat you, but if a great white shark sees you in the water
Mhm.
and it's hungry, it hasn't eaten for probably days,
You're
right?
cooked.
You're gonna get bitten. Like, I'm sorry. Like sharks can grow up to great whites can grow up to 29 feet long and weigh 2 tons.
Yeah.
And that insane bite
21
force.
feet is just.
Can you imagine?
Dude, have you seen that picture of there's a, you know how you got drive-in theaters,
Yeah.
but they set up the screen in front of a huge lake
Yeah.
on the beach actually, and there's people just watching it out in the water. They're watching Jaws in the water,
That would
and they're
be
all in like these floaties.
Well, that's gotta be a Florida special.
That is Florida 101 right there.
Yeah. And like the idea that sharks are just gonna leave you alone.
Mhm.
And this is my thing, right? Again, I like sharks. They're incredible animals.
Very
Don't
cool
kill them.
animals.
But I am saying is I think we gotta be more wary. Like I think people kind of like sometimes we take them for granted. Like we're like, okay, well, I think it's fine if we just get in the water with sharks. Because I think we've done too good of a job at being like, oh, you know, these sharks aren't a threat. Like we can just go in the water with them.
Well, yeah,
And
with all of that, like after the Jaws was released, everyone was
scared of
terrified,
sharks.
right? But then everybody, the
But then I think
scientists,
scientists were
the
like,
biologists started saying like,
no, the
they're
sharks
not
are
that
fine.
scary, you know?
But it's, I think we have
Maybe
to
people
have
took that a little
we
too.
gotta find a balance. Like
Yeah.
great white sharks who can attack you and they will attack you
True.
if provoked, right? And it's like, and here's another thing, right? All the shark attacks that are recorded in countries like South Africa, Australia.
Okay. What about
USA.
the ones that aren't recorded?
How many countries, right? Like developing countries
Mhm.
that probably won't even record shark attacks.
I know.
How many swimmers go out in the waters of like Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh,
They're
right?
reported missing.
They're not going to report anything. Like how many of them go out in the ocean, the Bay of Bengal, Indian Ocean? They go out for a nice deep swim and they just go missing, right? They're not going to report anything.
That's true.
How many swimmers do you think go out in the deep water and they go missing and it's not a shark attack? It's almost probably a shark attack because out of all animals in the ocean that can probably drown a swimmer, like kill a swimmer right away, 90% of the time it's a shark.
I heard some crazy stat like a shark could smell your flesh from a mile away or
That's a good stat. I think it's true, but I think it's conflated with a shark will. Let's say you're bleeding on the water, a shark will just come and kill you. That's not true because Mark Rober did do an experiment on
Oh,
YouTube
he did?
where he actually had like surfboards out in the water, like with the 1 kilometer radius, I think,
Yeah.
and he had like human like pee, urine.
Okay.
He had like a control, just a
How did
seawater,
he collect that, by the way?
and then like he left the data, but like in all honesty, the sharks didn't really like they didn't really so they did like one trial with cow's blood that got like most of the sharks in an
No
hour.
way.
But the human, like they put human blood in the water too, but like that got like no sharks.
So they
No,
prefer cows over humans.
I think they do prefer any animal that isn't humans over things. So yeah,
So if you want to go for a swim in the lake, just throw a cow on the other side so that you get all the sharks to.
yeah, I think honestly,
This is a Florida tip, by the way.
yeah. Also,
For all my homies in
speaking
Florida.
of more conspiracy theories about sharks as well, right?
Oh yeah.
We're going
Keep them
deeper in
coming.
this.
Keep them coming.
I forget. I think it's called the USS Indiana. It was a military ship in the US,
Mhm.
right? That I think it was the Pacific Ocean, where like the ship capsized, and
What
in
does
the
that
middle it means like the ship didn't blow up, but like it sank.
Oh, okay.
So the ship capsized in the middle of the ocean, right? And a lot of the sailors that survived the incident to say that sharks were picking off the
Oh my god,
the sailors in the water one by one.
that's crazy.
Like they're picking. So it's like
Makes
there's so
sense.
many stories out in the ocean where people will say that sharks are like they will eat you
Yeah.
if you're not careful.
Mr. Ballin also did a story on the guy.
Angola, I think it was this country of Angola in Africa.
Yeah, and then
Where,
the ship sank, and he was in there for like 3 days or something.
Oh no, that's a different story. Yeah, never
Okay,
mind.
so it's the story of a guy who's the ship sinks, and he's the last remaining survivor, and there's water filled in the ship, right? And then now he not only has to fight the issue of starvation, but he's also like he sees sharks or he feels them bumping against the outside, the exterior of the ship.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the guy,
And this
it's
is a
Nigerian,
legit-
right? Where the ship sank and he was
It was a black
underwater.
guy. It was a black.
Was underwater for like 3 days.
I think it was.
There was an
something
air
like that.
pocket, right?
Yeah.
I remember that
yeah.
story. No, another story is I think you remember this. It's like it was a more recent one. It came like a month ago, where I think it was a guy he was I think an American guy. I'm not sure what country he's from, but he was in Angola. He was out for a swim, and mind you, it was like a beach where it's in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
It's like a beach out in the open in the savannah, where he was out for a swim in the open ocean. He got attacked by a great white shark.
Oh man.
I think he got he got bit up. He was bleeding out. He managed to get onto the shore and get into his truck. And he's bleeding out. He's like he's gonna die. He drives, but I think he has to get water or something. I think he left something.
Mhm.
He has to get out the car, and when he gets to the car after an hour or two of driving, right? He encounters a pack of lions,
Oh my god.
and they attack him.
Oh, I watched this video.
So imagine
was a
getting
crazy
attacked by
one.
a shark,
Yeah.
then getting in your car,
Like, what are the odds?
driving towards civilization to get help. In the middle of that, you get attacked by lions. You survive that, and he passes out. He passes out in front of, I think, a safari tour,
Mhm.
and they spot him and they save his life. Can you imagine?
Angola, Africa?
I think it was Angola. Yeah,
Wow.
crazy story.
What are the odds?
Yeah, crazy odds.
That's kind of like the guy who was struck by lightning 2 times. There's a video actually.
Like on YouTube,
I came across this video scrolling on Instagram.
where he was like struck by lightning on video.
There's a video of the guy. He's struck by lightning once. He falls to the floor. He manages to survive it actually. walks a few feet and gets struck again. And I think
He died.
I think I didn't finish the video.
I mean,
Maybe I just scrolled on.
that's yeah. I mean,
Maybe it wasn't enough to give me that.
yeah. I mean, how many unfortunate things people happen to people? It's like, but I mean, if you think about odds, right? They say 1 in a billion, 1 in a trillion, but we have 8 billion people on the planet that are all having their own day-to-day lives. So if it's 1 in a billion, it's a chance that at least this can happen to someone because it's
For
1 in a
sure.
billion.
Yeah.
Mathematically speaking, that's like an 8% chance. Maybe
Yeah.
actually no, maybe I'm lying. I don't know what that is
Yeah.
mathematically, but yeah, that's interesting. So I mean, like, I think you said you had a couple of conspiracy theories too that you wanted to talk about.
Well, yeah, I wanted to talk about this specific story. Have you heard about the Riker Webb story?
No, what's the Riker Webb story?
So Riker Webb was this 3-year-old who went missing in Montana for a few days.
Oh,
He goes missing for 2 days, and they find him 2 miles away. They ask the kid what happened to him. He doesn't remember anything. He can't like how do you get a kid who goes missing for 2 days? You find him 2 miles away, and he can't recall anything that's happened. And then we'll also put a picture like this is what he looked like before, and now look at what he looks like after. Like I think there was some
I
foul
think
play
it's
involved
the
with
missing
it.
311. I think it's the missing
Missing
311.
411.
411, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
These are the type of stories when people like ask like, "Do you believe in Bigfoot?" I say like, "Okay, you know, it's sometimes I'll be like, that's kind of stupid." You know, like speaking or like evolutionary. What's
like
the word?
biological sciences.
Yeah, I mean, when we're kind of looking at that part of it, it's kind of like crazy to think that there's another species that we, you know,
Humanoid species that have
Especially
intelligence.
when it's so big and it's so large. It's not like a part of the ocean species, the 4% we haven't discovered. It's like it looks like an ape, right? But bigger. How have we not discovered this thing? I'll think like that's kind of stupid. You know, there's no Bigfoot. But then I'll hear stories like this, and
It's
then I'll be
also,
like, oh, there's a
I
possibility.
think people also underestimate how much land in North America is just not only
That's
developed.
true. Undiscovered land,
Not even undiscovered. No, I think we know it exists. But like,
untouched land.
yeah, we just haven't even like tried to
Yeah.
properly explore it.
Do you believe in Bigfoot?
I believe. Okay, I don't think that there's like 8-foot tall apes in the forests of California or British Columbia that are like benevolent and maybe harm human beings, but I do think that there's a possibility because again, there are no primate species in North America. There's no monkeys in North America.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that there's a chance that maybe we haven't discovered
A species.
somewhat intelligent primate species in North America. It's a possibility because there are primates in South America.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking, of course, we know that they existed during the Ice Age. Primates in North America.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that there is scientific ways of proving that there are primates living in North America right now. That probably are in places like. Do you remember Death Valley in Canada, the Northwest Territories?
The gold.
No one goes there.
Yeah.
There's a good chance that there's a lot of land that we have not touched. And even looking at indigenous peoples, right? How many stories do they have of animals, spirits, and beings that we're like, that sounds crazy. There's no way that exists.
Yeah.
Yet, more than likely, they're living in places that we don't even go to.
Oh, yeah.
The Inuit people in the Arctic, more peoples across Canada and America.
Yeah.
How many of them live in like the middle of the woods, living in the land?
Dude,
They
the
know.
First
They've
Nation
been there
people
for
have the
craziest stories.
craziest stories because they've been here longer than we have, and they've
They've been here for like thousands of
survived
years.
with nothing.
Yeah.
We come like we've obviously evolved.
Not only that, but
age-
we came with our technology. Like we
sure.
had technology to help us, right? They
Can you imagine what that was like being the first people to settle, and you just gotta fend for yourself with a
and I mean you gotta
makeshift
think.
tent and a
Besides Africa, arguably North America, well maybe Australia, but Australia's animals aren't like physically dangerous. They're more like venomously dangerous.
everything's venomous in
Besides
Australia.
Africa, North America arguably has the most dangerous wild megafauna,
Mhm.
like bears, moose, elk,
Yeah.
wolves, cougars, right? In Africa, of course, you have like everything, lions and whatnot. In Asia, but again, Asia and Africa have been developed by humans for like not millions, but like hundreds of thousands of years, right? North America, I think the indigenous peoples, I think we have estimates maybe 100,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago, but they came into a land where it's barren, like it's cold, right? Not much open land. Like yeah, we have prairies and whatnot, but so Africa has more like the climate's more favorable. It's hotter, it's warmer, easier to grow crops, right? the people here could not grow crops. Like they didn't have, they couldn't start the agricultural revolution that we had back in Africa and Asia. So you got to think they lived off hunting like incredibly difficult animals to catch, and you have to fend off with bears. And like, just think about it, bro. Imagine you are someone armed with just a spear, and you're walking in the woods. It's probably cold. It's like wintertime, and you come face to face with like a 10-foot tall brown
Mammoth.
bear.
Or a woolly mammoth.
Yeah, here's
the
the
Ice
thing.
Age.
Wait. So here's the thing too. There are a lot of conspiracy theories that the mammoths haven't gone extinct.
No way.
There's stories. There's countless stories. Not countless, but there are a number of stories. Mr. Ballin talks about a few of them
Really?
where the indigenous peoples, because of course the Europeans came. They document how they have talked about, or like, so we, like, at that point in time, the indigenous peoples haven't been introduced to our culture, Western culture, to a certain extent. So they wouldn't know our animal classifications. They wouldn't know what we know about like scientific discoveries about the animal kingdom, right? Yet they talk about how when they talk to these people living in the Arctic, the Inuit people, I think, right? They talk about a creature that resembles a woolly mammoth, like perfectly, and they say how they see them, like not often, but they see them like today, like, and this is like 1600s, 1700s, where we know the woolly mammoth it went extinct 10,000 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So think about how crazy that is, where they know what it looks like exactly. Like they say the fur color, the tusks, right? Like you wouldn't know those things by looking at a bone. Like you can say, oh, they found bones, but that wouldn't explain how they know it, like their behaviors,
For sure.
what they sound like, right? And they wouldn't even know the woolly mammoth existed because they wouldn't have access to our scientific libraries back in the day, right? And that calls into question, like, are they really
How
extinct?
recent was this?
Well, I think this book might have came out by some European explorers back in the 1800s.
Okay.
So again,
Still
it's old.
pretty recent.
It's
when you
old, but
think
if you're talking about like human, like Earth history, it's very recent.
Yeah.
Just 100, 200 years ago, right? So
Yeah, man. I mean, there are so many unanswered questions that we will probably never get to the bottom of. But it's just like out there, kind of just to wonder. You wonder whether Bigfoot actually exists or if there is a woolly mammoth.
I mean, they are,
out
yeah.
there.
I mean, like the idea of creatures existing in this on Earth that we know, like some of them probably are outlandish, like Loch Ness monster, probably like almost. I think it was
All the
Bundy
proof
hoax.
that there is just one image.
Yeah, and
Maybe a few
but like
stories as well.
Bigfoot, if you compare like the Loch Ness
Dude,
monster,
with the Bigfoot though, there are just countless stories even out in Oregon. I think Oregon's a hot spot.
California,
British Columbia,
Northern California, British Columbia,
Canada.
yeah, all, like
It's-
even Northern Canada.
Actually, British Columbia is like a hot spot for these stories, but you just wonder, like, if Bigfoot isn't a thing, why are there so many
Like,
people
what is that?
fabricating these stories?
what
Then
is it?
why
Yeah.
are they fabricating stories? You know, like, what reason for people who aren't just trying to like gain attention? What do they have to gain from this?
And I can't explain like the only animal you can say that causes these things is a bear, but like
Mhm.
some of these stories where Mr. Bone has a lot of these stories on YouTube, and I think we were talking about Mr. Bone a lot.
Shout out, Mr. Ballin.
Yeah, he's a great YouTuber. But one of the stories was where these four hunters or these four people go into the woods.
Hunters know a bear from a.
They know the land. They know the land pretty well because your survivability depends on you knowing animals
Mhm.
apart, right? That's your livelihood. But they build this cabin, right? Because they go to this spot in the woods pretty often. They go to this cabin.
Mhm.
They build this cabin up, right? Point is, long story short, right? They encounter this animal or animals that they have no idea what that is. They hear like this whistling sound.
Yeah.
They hear they're being surrounded. Rocks are being
Is it
thrown.
with the
at-
noise where they were going like whoop whoop?
yeah,
That one?
and rocks are being thrown at their cabin.
Oh man.
They're shaking it up. Like you can say the noises were like wolves or bears, but
Yeah.
no animal that we know of in North American woods can throw rocks like that, like we can.
Ultra intelligent.
So the point is, right? Maybe Bigfoot as we know it, as the urban legend, doesn't exist, but the idea that there's primates that can maybe even walk on two legs, because gorillas and chimpanzees can walk on two legs for a short period of time. Maybe
don't
there is another
deny it.
bipedal primate like us in the woods. Maybe they aren't 8 foot tall. Maybe they aren't as like scary and dangerous, but for them to exist up in the northern woods, because again, we kind of know all the southern areas, parts of the U.S. and whatnot, but in northern Canada and maybe even Alaska, right? What's to say that there isn't a monkey or a primate that evolved?
Oh yeah. Here's my take on it. I think it's a little bit ignorant as us humans to just assume that we know all the answers, right?
Yeah, 100%.
If there's a Bigfoot, why haven't we found it yet?
Yeah.
But hold up, we've only discovered what 4% of the ocean of our entire universe. How much is there discovered?
I
Just
mean,
a
I think people
tiny-
say we know more about the moon than we do the oceans.
exactly.
So-
There's only like a tiny portion of the ocean discovered. You know, our entire universe. So like, what makes us think that we know everything? If there's something out there that wanted to remain hidden from us, I think it wouldn't. If it's intelligent, it wouldn't be too hard, because considering the amount of land we have and the amount of land we've inhabited, there's a lot we haven't touched.
I think the one counter argument to all that is that if there is a big, because people will argue that the only animals left to discover are like tiny ones,
Mhm.
like bacterias
This could
or
be an anomaly.
insects, right? People say that it's almost impossible to find a new species that's like a tiger or like a big mammal, because you can tell. You don't even have to know it exists to see it. You
By
can
the
tell.
ecosystem,
You can tell it by its effect on the ecosystem.
food chain as well.
Like maybe trees would go missing.
That makes
You'd
sense.
see the so let's say Bigfoot existed, right? Let's say it's a carnivore or an omnivore, right? We know brown bears exist, right? So we have an estimate of how much the deer population, for example, will fluctuate year to year based on the predators that exist in the area. If Bigfoot did exist, we would see the deer population spike down even lower.
That's true.
So we would see even
That's
less deer. We would see like droppings probably.
Mhm.
We have seen footprints. I mean, we've seen footprints. How much that is real, we have no idea of knowing.
Yeah.
But we would see the impact of that said animal on the ecosystem, which is a good way to verify that we know Megalodon, the big shark,
Mhm.
the biggest shark that ever lived. We know that it's gone.
But then what about the 4% of the ocean thing? Do you think all the rest, the remaining 96%?
So I
is
think
like,
the 4%
is
ocean.
it
I think
microscopic? Is
yeah,
it
no,
like
I
is it
think-
below levels like that we have not even reached yet?
I don't think I think for that it'll be more like squids and octopuses. I don't think we'd find like big sharks, like a giant great white shark, for example.
What if there's sharks that can only live maybe
No, there are
thousands of
yeah, there are
meters
sharks that
below
live
water?
really that deep down the ocean, but they aren't like predatory sharks that feed on fish and mammals.
Okay.
They're like filter feeders. They eat in small fish.
Gotcha.
So their impact on the ecosystem isn't that big to begin with, right? And again, giant squid, right? We've actually there's actually two giant squids. There's a giant squid, right? That's like really long,
Yeah.
and there's a colossal squid, which is technically shorter. But
And
it's
how big is the biggest squid? I heard it's something
I
like
think the giant squid can reach up to like 50 feet, 60
Oh.
feet long. It's giant.
Oh my
And colossal squids are like, they weigh more. They're like
Yeah.
heavier. They're much thicker.
Yeah.
And apparently sperm whales eat both. But we know that the colossal squid lives in the waters of the Antarctic. But we haven't seen an actual colossal squid like that. We know it exists, I think, based on like what I just said. Like we know
Mhm.
its impact on the ecosystem. But we've yet to see an actual image of a colossal squid in real life.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's crazy. But I was gonna say one of the craziest videos I've seen is when people are recording themselves kayaking in a group, and you'll just see a huge whale. I think maybe it's like a beluga whale.
Humpback
pull up-
whale.
Yeah, maybe a humpback whale that'll just pull up beside them and just start drinking the water, or it'll just like kind of lift its head and go back under. Because if you think about it, these creatures are so big that if it just wanted to swallow you in a second, you'd be done for, right? You can't
Maybe
put
a
up
blue
fight.
whale. I think it's hard for whale sharks and humpback whales to swallow you whole because they're big enough to where they can see you. Like they probably just
Oh,
avoid
but in
you.
the video, this thing was huge. This
It
thing was
might be a
huge.
blue whale then,
Yeah.
because a blue whale is like 100 foot long.
Yeah.
That's a gigantic animal. It's a big
If
animal
it
that
just
ever
wanted
lived.
to just swallow that kayak, it wouldn't even have to chew.
I mean, yeah, you would. It
Just
would.
go
But
down.
I think, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stories out there of being swallowed by whales, like Moby Dick, for example, and other
Yeah.
big whales. But most whales that we've seen, right, they're pretty nice to us. Like for some reason, like the mammals in the
Most
ocean,
whales I've encountered are
like,
pretty nice to me.
not dolphins and whales, like killer whales. Killer whales are like, bro, they're like the wolves of the ocean. They're like the predator of the ocean. But yeah, there's been no attacks of humans there's been no attacks by killer whales on humans in the wild. And my theory of that is because I think they're super smart. Like they're so smart,
Oh yeah,
and they know like how smart they are, and they know that they can eat whatever they want whenever they want. So they're like,
the dolphin
okay,
is smarter though, correct?
no, I think the killer whales smaller than dolphins.
Is it really?
Bro, have you seen them hunt?
I mean, it makes sense.
So if a seal's let's say in the Arctic or the Antarctic, there'd be like a fat seal on a sheet of ice,
Oh, I've
and
seen that.
they go in like groups of three, and they
Yeah.
go underneath the wave, and they just slap their tails. make giant waves and they push the steel off the ice sheet.
They'll break the ice.
That's
They're smart enough
scary.
to know to
That's
break
scary.
the ice.
You know how scary that is?
I know.
Like that is crazy for like
Because
no,
as
no
humans,
animals.
we measure intelligence in a specific way, right?
Yeah.
But animals, obviously, they work on a different. Their intelligence is
yeah,
measured on a
facts,
different
yeah.
scale. So there's like a ongoing debate where people say like you can't say you're smarter than
Well,
a killer whale
there's-
because that's not
No,
how you
we
measure.
can. I think we can. Like I think that.
But I mean, like I'm saying that maybe intelligence is kind of relative.
I mean, intelligent in the sense that the killer whale is like hunting in the ocean, like it's ocean life. Sure, it's smartest in that sense, but I still think that intelligence, like we're talking about sentient beings, like we're able to talk and communicate
Sure.
through spoken and written language. That like no other animal in the history of this planet could ever write language.
Dude, right language, sure. I know that.
But yeah, I think I agree with you.
The
Right?
whales and dolphins, they communicate with like their voices.
Yeah, and we've recorded that orcas also have specific dialects of like their echolocation and they're speaking based on different pods that exist in the world. But again, Einstein did say that if you measure a fish's ability if you measure a fish's ability of competence by its ability to walk a tree, or climb up a tree, then of course a fish is dumb. But that's the point being is that if you measure someone's intelligence or any animal's intelligence based on what we know, it's like, okay, how good are you at math? How good are you at can you speak?
Which is very subjective.
But again, it's like I think
I'm not
that
saying like
we
that
are
killer whales
we are
smarter
so
than us,
different
but
than any other animal.
yeah, I mean
Then I
it's
think
kind
that
of God given.
I think that's where the religion part of it comes in, where it's like there are a gigantic scientific evidence that prove, of course, we are also an animal, but there are hundreds of theories that science gives you on why we are who we are, like why we can speak so clearly, written language. We have societies that are like millions of persons deep. We have morality. We have conscious thoughts. Where, like, for example, I can think about doing something, and then in the same thought, I can assign a value to that thought. So, for example, if I think about, okay, I want to go out. I'm gonna go to McDonald's in an hour and get a McFlurry. And the second thought can be, oh, but I'm on a diet. That's so stupid. Why would I get a McFlurry? Animals don't think that. Like, no animal can think. They can't assign value to their thoughts. And I think we know that based on like observing animals and their behavior. Like, no other animal can think of, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then think about that thought and be like, that's stupid. Like, why did I think that? That's why we have like depression. We have all these disorders that probably stem from the fact that we're so smart.
Yeah,
right.
I've also heard that people who have higher IQs are more likely to have a mental
Illness?
disorder like
Yeah, it makes
anxiety or
sense.
depression. Because if you think about it, somebody who's very intelligent, they're often in their head a lot.
I
they're
think it's a stat. People who are like in relationships, I think people do find that highly intelligent people in relationships tend to overthink like a ton.
Yeah, so you're kind of always overthinking. You're kind of second guessing yourself all the time and just thinking about your thoughts. And maybe it just makes you go crazy. You develop anxiety or depression and whatnot. I also heard this other thing. Maybe my facts are all a little crazy here, but we could fact check this later. But people with extremely high IQs, they look at people with low IQs. They'll think they have a mental disorder.
Oh, I don't know about that one. Well, I think we have to check.
I don't know if this we gotta fact check this, but it's something about people with high IQs. They like think those with low IQs have mental disorders.
That's interesting because then that causes the question.
I was thinking about it for a little
bit. If you actually have a high IQ, I think you'd understand how the world works. So you wouldn't think that they have mental disorder. You just think that they have low IQs.
I want to look more into this.
Right. All right. Speaking of high IQ people, I think this guy right here has a recorded 192 IQ, one of the highest in the world.
Extreme.
So you can do the honors of introducing him.
If you guys don't know already, this is my twin brother, Suleiman. I'm just kidding. He's not my twin brother. But people actually often mistake us for being twins. He's actually 2 years younger than me. But he's a shoe reseller, so he resells all type of kicks, Jordans, Yeezys, you name it. I'll actually let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Suleiman. I just graduated high school, so now I'm going to my first year university. Probably started this shoe reselling business maybe like 2 years ago, so I'm pretty sure it was 2023 summer. But yeah, it's been a really good journey. Taught me a lot about the business world and a lot about social skills. And yeah, so we can like show you guys some of them if you guys want to see.
How about we do rate the shoe? Okay.
Okay, so this is the Onyx slide. This is their black pair. This is like actually, in my opinion, this is my favorite one. These are probably my two top ones. I don't know. I have a couple pair of these for myself, but yeah, nah, these are probably like my best two in my opinion. There's like a bunch of these. There's like no, it's probably over like 20 pairs of colorways for the Easy Slide.
There's 20 different colorways.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of them. There's foam runners, there's slides, there's what else? They have like 350s too, the V2s, and they have like the OG pair. They have the Pirates. Those are really nice too. Yeah, there's like
So-
a ton of like different types of Yeezys.
So what is your favorite kind of shoe? What is your favorite kind of shoe?
What is your favorite kind of shoe?
My favorite.
Let's ask the expert here.
You know what? My probably top is maybe the Travis Scott Jordan 4s. Those are my
Classics. The
favorite. You know the
classics.
blue ones?
Yeah. Cactus
So-
Jacks. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? There's the University Blue 4s. You know the ones that are just all blue?
Yeah.
And there's this Travis Scott's too. They look kind of identical. Okay, not identical. They're like there's a little bit of a difference between the two. The Travis Scott's maybe like a little bit darker in the blue, and then the University, the University. Blue,
Yeah.
right? Those are my two top best ones, but they're kind of like similar. But I don't know if I were to choose one, it's got to be the Travis Scott's. I've had a pair of those, and I sold it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Those ones are very clean. Could you, like, 20 years ago, would they ever think that we're going to have shoes that look like this? Like, look at this thing.
They probably think in 1940 that you have like flying shoes that make us fly. Not that.
No, but, like, I mean, just, like, the look of it. Like,
I
you would
mean,
never
I won't
think-
lie. That does look very modern. Not modern.
It
That looks
so, like,
futuristic.
very futuristic.
Yeah, I
You know,
mean,
it
it's
looks
very
like,
futuristic. Yeah.
I always thought this looked like a dinosaur. I don't know. Just
I
gives
mean,
me a
that's like
dinosaur
Kanye
vibe.
West's vision. You can always say Kanye West, Travis Scott. Those guys are always have like had like future vision.
You know what this makes me think of, though? Maybe before, when there was a different kind of trend, people would look at this. Like, when people wore normal-looking shoes that looked like a regular shoe, maybe Air Force One, they would look at something like this and be like, that is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, that is so ugly. But now, since the trend has changed and everybody knows that Kanye West produced this shoe, it's like, that is the most beautiful shoe in the world, just because you know Kanye West produced it.
saying
So
it's-
it's like if you think in a different type of way and you know that there's a specific trends that go on right now, but you know you're a fashion designer and you want to make something like this, or just like Kanye did, he made a shoe that looks so different to the one we have nowadays, and maybe people would have said that nobody's gonna buy that shoe, but now look at today. So that it's just like comes to show that, like, it doesn't matter if things are a little bit different. If you know how to like run a business, if you know how to like sell yourself, people will end up throwing money at you just like that. This is a prime example of it.
Okay, something that's really crazy to me is that so you know how like recently they dropped a bunch of Yeezys, right? So I'm pretty sure this is like the last stock they sold off. It was like over like I don't know the exact number, but from the top of my head, I think it was like over $300 million worth of Yeezys sold.
Yeah.
And that's just like their stock finished off, right? And that was like everyone's chance, like all the resellers, right? Because what the resellers do is that when Kanye drops a bunch of Yeezys, and by the way, it wasn't actually Kanye that dropped it. It was Adidas without his permission.
Yeah, because I think Kanye didn't he like break off from it? Yeah, Adidas, he
they're
broke off
like
from.
completely done.
Yeah,
That's
they're
the
done.
crazy
Yeah.
thing. So
yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure there was like a lawsuit between the two, but yeah. So Adidas sold off a bunch of stock, and that's where the resellers come in, right? And they buy a bunch of Yeezys, and then they go and sell them for profit. But the thing is, when all these Yeezys are dropping, the price and the market of the Yeezys completely drop.
Yeah, there's
right?
still a
So
lot
now
of,
like
there's a lot
they're
of
all like
supply.
super low, and it's hard for me to sell off like a lot of stock now because I bought it when it was higher price, right? So now I have to wait until the market goes back up, but it usually does like pretty fast.
Mm.
But yeah.
That's kind of crazy, the whole Yeezy and Kanye thing that happened, because what was it about? They kind of like just terminated his contract.
Well, I mean, the Kanye, his comments and whatnot. I mean, he's always
Was
been
it his
he's a
comments?
very polarizing figure. I think Kanye wanted to just have more autonomy over his business ventures. So, I mean, I actually forgot what I remember like following it when he broke off from Adidas, but I know he broke off from Adidas and like now he's more independent. He's always been a fashion guy. He always dresses himself up uniquely, I'd say. And he
Some
he
of
has
his
his
fits are a little bit questionable.
yeah. I've seen him in Italy last year, and let's
I've
just
seen,
say
him
let's
on
just
I've
say
seen him on a boat, a video of him on a boat.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I
just
mean
gonna
yeah,
leave it
we
at
can just
that.
leave it there. I
Just
think
gonna leave
people will know what we're talking about.
But
But
I think that I heard that Yeezy or Adidas lost so much money in a few days after terminating their contract. They were on their knees after, and they were like, "Please come back, please. We need you."
yeah, I mean I don't know how much of
Like,
that's
yeah,
just
we need
true,
you.
but yeah, I do know that they just did lose quite a bit of money because
Oh yeah,
of
But you know, one thing that's crazy. This is my personal opinion, and I think this is like over time it's gonna happen. But Kanye, so basically, you know how this is their last ever stock of Adidas drops, right?
Yeah.
So like they're not. I'm pretty. Yeah, this is like they're not dropping any more Yeezys. Like this is done. Like I'm very confident that. Like they say that a lot, but they dropped all of their stock right on Yeezy Day. So what I think is that if all the stock is gone, right, everyone already has their own stock. All the resellers have it. If someone's very smart, they hold this stock for like 2-3 years. Like if it's a lot of money worth of stock, right? That stock is just gonna go up in price. Like that's gonna rise because they're not dropping any more pairs, right? So
let me ask you a question then. Why would you sell these right now and not wait 10 years until people are, searching their garage, searching their closet? Do I have any more Yeezys left? And then, sell it to them. They'll be like, I'll pay anything for you. You know those Kanye, those
Yeah.
diehard. You just get one of those and be like,
yeah.
$3,000. They can't say no.
They won't. Yeah, I mean if you look at Pokemon games,
Oh man.
my favorite Pokemon game was Pokemon Black 2. That was probably like $40 in 2012. Now if you want to buy a brand new copy, it's $200 minimum. It's been 12 years since then, right?
yeah,
So I mean, if Pokemon Black 2, a video game, is selling for how much markup? 500% up markup, maybe something like that. Yeah, 500%. Then that could probably be like what? If you bought it for like what, $200 maybe, 150, then that's like $1,000. That's crazy. It's pretty crazy.
hold on. I was gonna say something. You know, on the business side, like okay, so what I do is I resell sneakers, right? And sometimes I'll go into like reselling clothes. But if you think of it, you can resell anything you want and make a fortune out of it.
Yeah.
There's people reselling hockey cards, bro. There's people reselling
I mean,
Pokemon
Pokemon cards were hot back then.
And-
Yeah.
and people are making millions of dollars on a year.
Speaking of,
Like-
I have Yu-Gi-Oh cards I had when I was like 12, and they're pretty like mint Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like they're like pretty like the popular ones too. The nerds will know what I'm talking about. I have the God cards. I have Exodia. I have
What is a white dragon worth?
a Blue Eyes White Dragon. I have no clue. I think there's like a bunch of different editions. The fourth edition, first edition, and the mint. But like I have like 2 or 3 of them.
Oh man.
I have like 2 or 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons, and like
You might be making a fortune.
if I actually sold my Yu-Gi-Oh like collection,
Yeah.
I don't know how much I'd make. Maybe a rack, but like.
That's pretty good.
But to be fair, I want to keep it for a long time. I don't know if I'm ever going to sell them, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean,
Because let's say I turn like 80 years old,
Yeah.
that might be worth 100K, man.
oh man.
Like it might be worth a lot of money, man. So
Can't
like,
put a price tag on some things at the moment.
Yeah.
Until it's 100K.
yeah,
Maybe.
like yeah, though you get
Can we
cards. are crazy.
interview him? Let's interview him.
Which one? This guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
Oh,
interview
no.
him. Oh,
I don't know what to ask him. Okay. Let's start off with some simple questions. What is 8 times 8?
64.
Okay. He's relatively smart. What is 9 times 6?
54. I forget. 56.
9 times 6 is what? Yeah, 54. Yeah, he's
54.
right. Yeah,
Okay. That was a tricky one.
hella tricky. So would you say like that your graduating class had LRIS or they had WRIS?
Graduating class of 2024. I mean, for me, I feel like as time goes on, like I feel like the population of kids become less and less social. I don't know. I think it's the technology though. Like
Yeah.
everyone's
You
using
see, like,
technology
everyone's more brain
nowadays.
rot.
So the social skills is just completely gone if you're just gonna be on your phones all day and like even like Snapchat, bro. Like people like don't even socialize in person and like everything about their life is just Snapchat. Bro. Like, so I don't know. I feel like I mean, if you're talking about Riz,
Yeah.
a lot of people just don't know how to like.
So who's the most Sigma?
This whole thing with, sorry, I'll answer your question in a sec, but the whole thing with like all these teenagers, and you'll just like, if you see a kid on his phone using Snapchat, he'll be like half swiping his friends. You know that whole half swiping thing? It's just like not even open the chat when his friend is texting him because he needs to maintain his
nonchalant aura.
No, but like I'm not even gonna call it your nonchalant aura. You're just a goof. You know, you're kind of just you
Can we
think
just call it for
you
what it
think
is?
you're all
Call it for what it is. It's the
yeah.
idea.
You
Confrontation.
think you're cool.
It's
You-
confrontation.
Like, what do you mean?
You
confrontation?
don't wanna-
I'm trying to say that, like, you think you're such a cool kid by half swiping people and not replying to your texts and only replying like these very very dry messages, because so many people do that. You know, like when they're on social media, they think that I need to maintain this persona by not replying to too many people or sending back very dry text messages, half swiping people, and not giving people too much. But okay, you know what? Maybe celebrities do that, and maybe they have a reason to do that. You're some little kid just like acting like a fake friend to all of his friends and acting like a loser. So I think it kind of pisses me off when I see that. I'm I'm just kind of just yapping here. But you asked
So
who's the most
Sigma on the wall. Who's the most skibbity of them all?
Bro, what does that even mean? Like, I actually don't know what skibbity means.
Like
What does that mean?
Sigma on the wall. Who's the skibbityest of them all?
You.
Wow. That's an honor. I won't lie. It's like a very, very like.
I don't
I'm gonna
even
hold
know
on
what
my
it
chest
means,
for a
bro.
long time.
What did your principal say on the stage? He said something like
He said,
I don't know. He was just saying like something about Riz. I forget what he was saying, but he always likes to use these kind of words.
L
like,
chat, L
like
Riz.
when you know, like older people, when they say the word Riz or something, they think they're so funny.
Actually, no, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there was this grandpa I was watching on Instagram, and he used the word cook like flawlessly in his story, and I actually laughed so hard because he was saying something like, "Yeah, you know, I was with my friends, and then you know, like we were driving, got pulled over, and I knew I was cooked." I'm like, that's so. Anyway, speaking of getting pulled over, got a really interesting story.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You got
This is a
story.
grade 12 year. Mind you, we're 2 years out of high school now, so we're unks. We're unks.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Status.
we're on status now. So story time is there's 4 of us in my car. It was my dad's car at the time because I didn't have my own car at the time. But it was me, Brigitte, other co-host of the podcast.
Yeah, you don't have to say their names.
Yeah, that's true. So you just know me and him were in the car, 2 other guys. We were driving around one night. It was like 9 p.m. and we saw this school bus with tinted windows driving around, you know, our neighborhood. And we're like, this is so suspect. Why is there a school bus driving around a school night at 9 p.m.? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And why is your windows all tinted? Like, why can't I see anything inside of your? Because I'm thinking, any school bus I've seen, you know, I could see the inside of your car. Like, I mean, the bus.
Which
So
you
I'm
should
like-
be able to.
So I'm like, and that at the time, you know, I was a wannabe Batman. Like, my entire persona was Batman.
Oh, you're one of those.
So I was like, I gotta save the city. And the car was nice. My dad's car was pretty nice, right? So I'm like, okay, this is the Batmobile.
the Benz.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We were driving around chasing this bus throughout the whole neighborhood. At one point, I think this is what got us cooked. So we were driving, right? And there were 2 of our friends. 2 of our friends were like not in the car, but they were somewhere else. And the bus crossed their path. So as they crossed their path, we were on the phone with them. They ran beside the bus and I think they held something in their hand and they were yelling and shouting, right? I think that's what got us cooked. Because after that, right?
So your 2 friends were out of the car.
Like, no, it wasn't
were
the
on
friends
foot?
in the car. So there's like 2 other people outside of the car.
They were on foot,
They're on foot.
and
were-
then they told you they saw the bus.
No, we were calling them like, yo, guys, we're following this
okay,
bus,
on the
right?
phone.
And like, yo, where you guys at? And then we realized the bus is heading towards their area, and they got out of their car, ran after the bus, and started yelling at it, screaming at it. We were being really silly, man, and it ended in a pretty bad way. So then we were on the phone with the Crime Stoppers, which is like the non-emergency 911 number.
Yeah.
We're telling them that there's this bus, like it's really suspect, like what's going on. Eventually, the operator on the line tells us to pull over and like stop, and then police car will meet us and talk to us.
Yeah.
That's when we got cooked, bro. Because when we pulled over, there's this gigantic, like army-looking truck. It was a big pickup truck with like this
Say
big
on God.
on God, bro. It was
They pulled up with the truck on you guys.
it was
So they thought you guys were the threat.
let me finish. So there's a truck pulled up behind us. So the truck pulled up, turned off its lights, right? 5 minutes later, we see like 4, 5, 6 police cars pull up, lights on. And then
Are they chasing the guy?
no, they're behind our car that's pulled over on the side of the road.
What?
Yeah, and then the cop gets out the car on the PA system with a megaphone. He's like, "Can the driver please turn off the car?" I turn off the car. Only problem is the newer car. My dad had a newer car. Even if you turn off the engine, the light still stays on.
Yeah.
So the cop thinks that the car isn't off yet.
Yeah.
And I have to kind of stream like the car's off, right? He says he's like, okay, the driver slowly get out the car, put your hands up, and walk towards the thing. So I get out the car. So mind you, I'm shaking now.
How many cop cars are there again?
When I get out of the car,
Yeah.
get the car. Make sure my hands are always in sight. You know, I had that thought in my mind. Hands are in sight. I closed the door. No, I think I left the door open because I don't want to make a sudden movement.
Yeah.
Hands are up, right? When I look at the scene, there's like 15 cops,
You're
6 police
joking.
cars,
There's 15
lights.
cops.
15, and they had their guns drawn at me.
They were pointing their guns at you.
Yes,
Are you being serious?
yes, I'm being dead serious. And there's 3 or 4 SWAT officers that are like 6'8", 300 pounds.
Where is this bus by now?
Oh, it's long gone. The bus is long gone. I don't know where it is, man. So they got their guns pointed at us, right? The SWAT guys had like AR-15. They like assault rifles pointed at me, and I'm walking slowly now, as slow as I can, right? I walk to the police officer that's telling me to walk towards them, put my hands behind my bike, puts me in handcuffs. Okay. Now my other friends got out the car.
Has he told you anything? Like what you're under arrest for?
No. The other friends got out the car. Now they're ushering them in. They haven't put them in handcuffs yet, right? But luckily, one of my friends is quick. He's pretty clever. He says, "Wait, like, I think we kind of figured out. I forget how it happened, but we figured out that we called the cops on each other. The bus called the cops on us.
Called the cops on you
and we
guys too.
called the cops on the bus. But the bus said that we had a gun in the car, and I'll tell you why. I think it's because remember I said my friends were chasing the car before then. I think when they were waving something in their hands, I think the bus driver thought that it was a gun.
Oh, makes
So
sense.
they thought we
why
had a gun in the car.
overreacted,
Yeah.
because if they thought there was a gun
So the-
following a
So
school
the cops were actually very nice. They were cool people, and I mean, rightfully so. I mean, if you get a phone call saying there's a sus looking car chasing a bus, they had a gun in the car, they're acting all right. Because I was driving pretty erratically. I was driving very fast, braking.
Yeah,
lanes.
he must have told them a very good story, a very believable
Yeah.
story.
So the cops come on full force. They listen to us though, and they're like, okay, you know what? That sounds right. Because they're like, oh, we called Crime Stoppers, and they verify, like, okay, they search us, get our information, everything. They let us go. They're like, all right, guys, don't be dumb. Let us go.
Yeah.
So that was a crazy story, man. I technically got arrested. Like, they put me in handcuffs.
But they didn't put it on your record, did they?
No.
No,
It was. I even asked the cop. I'm like, so by the way, is this like no? Because I think they have to actually process you in the police station for it to go on your record,
Okay.
right? Yeah. So
what the hell was the bus doing then with tinted windows?
So found out the bus was just training. It was practicing. It was all.
They were training.
But I'm like, why at 10 p.m. at night? Like, come on.
You guys were looking out for the city.
Yeah, we were
Like,
trying to do our best. We're like,
Kinda-
I wonder if this bus is.
Trying to save
I
Gotham
wonder if this
over
bus
here.
is like transporting children, transporting drugs. We're like, bro, why is
I
your
mean,
windows
yeah,
tinted?
if worst case scenario was something, you guys would have been the hometown heroes. But to have like a bus with maybe the windows weren't tinted and you guys just thought
I mean,
they were
yeah, it
tinted.
was at nighttime, so I couldn't tell exactly. But come on, like,
I got a bus with tinted windows. It's also looking very suspicious. It has 16 armed men inside.
and I think that's exactly what we told
That's what
the
they-
operator, but except minus the armed men part.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So if you just call the cops on anybody and just say that they have a gun, you'll get 6
I
cop
mean, isn't that
cars
what
with-
swatting is? Isn't that what swatting is? Like,
I guess
police
so.
shooting? Yeah, that's what swatting is, man. They're like, oh yeah,
So I
bomb
could-
threat,
I could swat
bomb
my-
threat,
I could
blah, blah,
swat
blah.
my neighbor.
Yeah, you probably could. You could say, yo, my neighbor on.
You would probably get in big trouble for that.
Yes,
If
you
you
would.
didn't have
You would.
an
If
actual
you call,
basis.
if they know it's false, you're in big
Yeah,
trouble. Yeah, they're in
True.
big
It's like randomly dialing the cops
and being like,
911 and then
like,
just
oh yeah,
prank
there's this
calling.
guy across the street from me. He's
'Cause
holding.
I
a
heard they
gun.
actually show up to your door. I've never done it.
What do you mean?
Like if you call 911 just as a joke and just say just kidding, hang up the phone, they'll actually
I don't
pull
think
up
if you say
to
just
make
kidding.
sure.
I think if you just call by accident, you hang up right away.
Yeah,
I think they think, oh, maybe you used by accident.
No, but they never know when it's like maybe you had to hang up and make up an excuse because someone's holding you hostage.
Yeah, so I think if you say a word, but let's say you call it and you immediately press end right after it starts ringing.
Oh, okay.
Then I think, okay, maybe
Maybe
it's
they don't even get the
yeah.
whatever. But I was gonna say, isn't there like a universal code for when you're being held hostage?
Ordering
by
a pizza. Ordering a
Is
pizza.
it ordering a pizza? So when you're being held hostage.
No, I think it's more domestic violence.
Oh, okay.
Which is
So
a-
if you call
what-
the cops, and
so-
for people that don't know, if you call the cops and you don't want your
Your partner in the house to also know what's going on.
you don't want them to know what's going on, and they just think you're on your phone, you could just
Say,
call
hey,
911.
Can I order a large pizza?
Except they'll hear you dialing beep beep beep, and that's it.
So
they
that's-
might be
so
sussed
here's
out.
Here's a funny.
But maybe you could like just maybe you could
The
just
memes are
pretend
funny.
to
The
make
memes are funny. It's like the meme is like the meme now. It's like they put a picture of like let's say from a TV show or something.
Yeah, I've
With
seen
her
those,
surprise,
I've
it's
seen
like my honest reaction when my wife is ordering a pizza. She
dialing
only
3 digits.
pressed- 3 digits.
I don't think they're gonna be sad. But if you have if somebody's holding you hostage, that's very stupid. Just dial 911.
Well, no.
And
Here's
ask
what
them
you do.
for a
No.
large
This is what you
piece
do.
of pepperoni pizza.
If you
Is that how
want
it
to, if your partner is smart, you dial 911. You press the call button, but right after you press call while it's ringing, you go on your dial pad and you just tap a bunch of numbers in.
And it doesn't actually.
It doesn't affect the call because
Gotcha.
the operator hasn't picked up the phone yet.
Yeah.
So if you just press in a bunch of numbers,
Yeah.
then the like, assuming the person isn't in the room with you, like face to face. Let's say you're like, okay, let's say, hey Justin, I'm gonna go order some pizza.
Yeah.
Well, I just got like he was just beating you, like he was just beating
Yeah.
the hell out of you. And Becky's like, Justin, I'm gonna go. Like Justin, I'm just gonna order a pizza.
I'm sick and tired of you beating me up. I just need a pizza.
No.
Just let me get a pizza.
Like black guy, like Justin, I'm just gonna order a pizza. Walks to a different room. He's like, okay, Becky, whatever you say. And then he hears Becky dial 3 numbers, slight pause, and pushes a bunch of numbers in.
Becky, what the hell are you doing? Why are you dialing 3 digits?
And then be like, sorry, Justin, my head's just kind of spinning. And then she
There you
talks, and then you'd be like, hey, I like to order a pizza, 3 toppings, blah blah blah.
Is it 3 toppings?
No,
Or
be
is it
like, can I?
What's the code word?
No.
Go
I
bla-
think
black
what you say. I
olives.
think what you say is like, hey, can I order a large pizza? And
Maybe
then,
depending on like what's going on, you could choose
No,
the
no,
topping.
no,
So
no,
if it's
no.
like if it's a light crime, go with a pineapple. But if it's like
no.
if it's something
not that.
crazy, you go with a mushroom.
It's not that. You just
I need a extra large mushroom all over.
so mushroom
extra cheese.
means send everything you got.
Send the SWAT.
This guy got
send
this-
all the SWAT teams.
This
That's
guy has
mushroom.
everything. This guy's everything from like the machine guns,
Extra mushroom.
machete. Yeah, but I think the operator recognizes it and goes, "Oh, is the person in the room with you right now, or like in the house with you right now?" I'd be like, yes.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
You want extra pepperoni? Yes. But then what if you call the police? Like, if I call them right now and just ask for a large pizza, and they're just like, "What the hell are you doing? This is the."
I
wrong-
think no, because there was a case in Oregon like a couple years back where
Yeah.
a woman did that, and the operator was about to hang up. Then he finally got it. He was like, "Oh,
Fuck
I get it."
Yeah.
I think after that point, every the department in the world now knows that.
Yeah, I
it's
mean, that's
code.
a smart universal code. There's also another code where it's like, if you think you're being followed, just if the person behind you has
3 right turns.
if you made 3 right turns and they're still behind you, then they're for sure
You
following
just
you. The
draft
reason
it.
why is because if you think about it, if you make 3 right turns, 1, 2, 3, you've ended up in the same spot. So you've basically done a square. And if they're still behind you and you think they're not following you, they are.
I think
Just
the
do 3 right turns.
The best
If you think
advice
someone's
is
following you, just do 3 right
here's
turns.
the thing. The best advice is that is if you're in a city or if you're in like a somewhat urban area, just go to your nearest police departments right away. Don't even go.
What if you're in the suburbs?
That's the
and
problem.
The next house is 2 miles away.
Then you just have to. Then you might have to just keep driving. Like you might have to just keep driving until you find somewhere that you know that's like.
Then you gotta
safe.
get the film crew out, and you're gonna be in the next horror movie.
Yeah, the
You're
next
cooked.
Scream, the next.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, I mean, very very scary stories out there, man. You got to stay
know.
safe.
you gotta
But
stay
yeah,
safe, man.
But yeah, I think honestly,
Crime tips 101.
yeah, that's my advice. Stay calm, stay collected, and if you're being followed and you're living in, and let's say no, but if you, to be fair, if you're being followed and you're going to your house, likely you probably live in a suburban area, probably live near some civilization. So if that's the case, stop going to your house. Go
Please
to
don't go to your house.
like if you're being followed and you go to your house,
Yeah.
you are the biggest idiot, bro. Like
guys, just don't go to your house.
yeah,
Just go
go
order.
anywhere but your house. Like go to
order
your
a large
grandma's.
pizza.
Go to your grandma's house, bro. Like
You're just gonna do your grandma like that?
I mean, if it's your house or your grandma's house,
Go to
bro.
your least favorite family member's house.
Yeah,
I just
be like Becky.
what's
Well,
going
why are
on?
we picking on Becky? But
Always picking on Becky.
yeah, who's Becky, man? Who's Becky?
Somebody
But
knocks on the door, breaks the door down. What's going on? Oh, yeah.
oh, you know. But yeah, best advice I can say is if you are being followed by somebody, just go to the next police station, and you'll be just
Order a
fine.
large pizza when you get inside.
Yeah, I mean, no, you can get inside. I think you can just scream like, "I need help! I'm being followed by somebody," and then
You want to be mysterious?
yeah,
Just get there and order a pizza. That's what I would do.
yeah, just be like, "Yeah, I just need a large pizza, pepperoni, pineapple, mushroom." The deal.
What are some other like universal codes? There's 3 right turns. There's a large pizza, I guess. There's also you're being chased by an elephant, run in zigzag lines.
I think that was an alligator or a crocodile. I don't think it's a zebra elephant.
I swear it's an elephant.
No, it's a
Because an
crocodile.
elephant is not as agile. They're not going to be able to make your zigzag moves. You know what I mean? As long as it's far enough from each other. But when I was being chased by an elephant, all I had to do, I made 6 zigzag lines.
Well, what did you do to the elephant for it to chase you? Because elephants are typically not that, mean to humans unless you provoke them, So
Oh, yeah, I was provoking a little bit.
what did you do?
I don't want to get into the details, but there's a little bit of provoking here and there.
So were you like bullying the elephant?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. All that matters is I made a few zigzags, 3 right turns,
Yeah.
and then I ordered a large pizza, and he was gone.
Okay. Well, I think before we end this off, I think here's a couple of fire round bonus rapid fire questions.
Sure.
We can ask.
You're asking me?
Yes. So,
Okay.
what sport has the most athletic athletes, in your opinion?
Ooh. I think it's got to be football players. The reason why
Football,
I say
American football.
American football
Okay.
or chess,
Chess.
because chess is a sport, right?
I mean, if we count esport as a sport, chess
Yeah.
would be a sport too. Yeah, sure.
Dude, chess, you gotta like the
So,
skill, the
so
agility
athletic.
it
So we're
takes
counting.
to
We're counting
be able-
mental. We're talking mental.
No,
athleticism?
physical, but the ability, like the agility it takes to be able to just checkmate. You gotta be like quick. You gotta.
So is Magnus Carlsen better than Michael Jordan at athleticism?
Athleticism?
Yeah.
Probably.
I can see that.
If you could. No, but on a real note though, I say football because if you think about it, a football player has to be able to sprint very fast and then stop. So they're explosive and they're also agile at the same time. They have high verticals because like receivers, they need to be able to catch high throws, and then you also need to be able to kind of what's it called? You wrestle your guy to. If you're a
Linebacker.
linebacker, you gotta be very strong.
I agree.
So it's kinda like,
Football, American
you have a
football
little bit of everything.
has, but I think basketball tends to be the most athletic.
do you think
sport.
basketball is the most athletic?
I think because minus the strength part of it, basketball players tend to be jump. They tend to just jump higher.
Sorry, can I change my answer to wide receivers in football? I
Oh,
think are the
specifically.
most athletic
I think
athletes in the world.
okay, I agree with that, but I think overall basketball has the most athletic, like on average. If you
Overall?
average
Okay.
everyone out,
Yeah, because there are a lot of fat football players.
yeah. I mean, again, fat because they have to be fat. But the point
and
is
they're in
that like
America.
besides wide receivers and like maybe running backs and like
Do you agree with that though?
I agree with it 100%. And maybe tight ends.
Because I'm right.
How athletic do you have to be? I mean, even quarterbacks don't have to run that fast. To be honest,
I mean, I heard Tom Brady.
I mean, Patrick
and
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. He's not very.
Like again,
He's a great basketball player though.
compared to us, sure, he's athletic as hell. But
Yeah.
compared to like the average athlete, he's not that
Yeah,
fast.
exactly.
Right. So again,
Whereas you got NBA players like
yeah,
no matter
what-
John Wall, LeBron
Yeah.
James at
no,
38
but again,
years
every
old. He's
position,
a freak
every
athlete,
position in
but-
basketball, you have to be somewhat athletic. You have
Yeah.
to be at least like jump pretty high,
for sure.
at least be laterally
So
quick.
how is Jokic so good?
No, but Jokic actually is athletic. Like people don't
You
see
think
it.
so?
He is. He has that footwork. Do you think that's not like how the way he can move his foot?
That's true.
That is
The way
Athletic.
Luka Doncic is able to shift his body weight to score
Again,
a bucket,
people-
like he's so good at manipulating his weight and just using himself to kind of get around
People-
you that you can't guard it.
people say Luka's best ability isn't even like every basketball player's ability is like people say you have a big engine.
Mm-hmm.
Luka has the best brakes of any basketball player.
Yeah.
Look, he has a regular engine, but with F1 brakes.
Yeah.
Like he can decelerate
stop.
instantly.
Accelerate
that's
and
what gets people,
decelerate.
yeah.
There you go. But
A lot of
when
players
you look
can't
at
do
a wide
that.
receiver, that's
Like
exactly what they
LeBron
do.
or Westbrook has like a Ferrari engine.
Yeah.
But they have like not regular
Oh, I think
brakes.
Westbrook's got like all in one. He is a freak athlete.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete. So
He's
is LeBron.
probably one of the most athletic NBA players of all
But
time.
Luka Doncic, I think, is like he has like a Camaro engine with like Ferrari, not Ferrari, like F1
Sure.
brakes. So
I'd say I have a mix of a McLaren,
engine or brakes.
both. Yeah.
Anyways,
I'd say McLaren.
I think that's a good place to end off the podcast.
Yeah. So we upload twice every week. You guys
Yeah.
like what you see?
Yeah.
Let us know down in the comments. We post again twice a week. We cover
We're
different
so
topics.
random. Like this might be your downfall, but I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, we talk about everything and anything, and
Everything and anything.
yeah, if
There you
we try to appeal to our own crowd. I mean, we're both young guys, Gen Z guys, so we try to appeal to our own crowd, and we try to just talk about anything and everything that
Mhm.
people want to hear about. So, any ideas that that you want us to talk about,
For sure.
just leave it in the comments below, and we will
Hit
talk
our
about it.
DMs. Let us know.
Yeah, please slide in my DMs slowly.